Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we are going to be creating HStack. So we're going to be looking at HStack. So HStack is basically a container view that lays out its children in horizontal order. Okay, that's why H is for horizontal. And all the views inside the HStack are placed side by side, and that's how they fill the container, basically to lay out their children. Now, views inside the container can be spaced and aligned, so you can have properties, or you have ability to space them and align them. And we're gonna see how those properties work. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first initializer. So HStack, all right. And if I say init, you can see there are three arguments, and there's an alignment that's of type vertical alignment right here. Vertical alignment, yeah. So if this is unspecified, the vertical alignment value is set to center, and there are other options, like you can set the alignment to top, bottom, first baseline, first text baseline, and last text baseline. Okay. Next argument is spacing. Spacing is basically determines how much of a space to be left between the views, and if this is unspecified, then framework will determine the appropriate value that needs to be placed between the space that needs to be placed between the views. Okay. Then the third one is the content. Is your actual content, basically the closure that provides a view that needs to be stacked in horizontal space. Okay. All right. So vertical alignment. Now vertical alignment, as I mentioned, there are five standard vertical alignments. There's a top, center, bottom, first baseline, first text baseline, and last text baseline. And if I select this actually, and go inside the initializer, let's go ahead and see if we can find those values. So vertical alignment, just go in that definition, and oops, okay, so it seems like I can't go inside this definition. Okay, that is fine. We can actually look at the other values this way. So here you go. So you have a bottom, center, first text baseline, last text baseline, and top. Okay. These are the values, and these are pre-existing values. Now you can create your own value using alignment guide. These most of the time these standard values work for most of the cases, but custom alignment is if the custom alignment is needed, then you can actually create that using alignment guide. Okay. Now let's see. So you had a center, okay, spacing maybe 10, and the content is just a placeholder right now. But you can place, for example, let's say 3 text messages. 3 like that, and if I resume, what this should do is basically this should create 3 texts next to each other, and basically display them in a horizontal line. Okay, so there we go. Message 1, 2, and 3. That's displayed in horizontal space. Okay. All right. So that is your standard HStack with its initializer. And if you look at the other initializer, there's one that takes content, so you can simply provide the content in this, so you don't have to worry about the alignment or spacing. It's all defined in default, and that's going to be used. Okay, so that's what this one, this initializer is for. Alright, so let's take a look at an example where we're gonna apply all these alignment values, and we're gonna basically see how they actually work with an animation. So we're gonna set them like, dynamically. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a state property. I'm gonna create a VStack, and inside that we're gonna create an HStack that takes the alignment, and we're gonna say alignment is gonna be our alignment property value that we have defined at the top. Let's create a rectangle. This is gonna be a line that's gonna move along to display where the alignment is. So we're gonna create a rectangle. Okay, and next we're gonna create a text. And we're gonna create 3 items, and these 3 items are basically going to be displayed below each other. I mean, even if it's actually horizontal, text is basically /n, so we are creating a multi-line text here. Okay, and we're gonna give this a fixed size. In horizontal space, I'm gonna say false, and vertical space we're gonna say true, and we're gonna give this a font of large title. Okay, and then we're gonna create this another rectangle on the other side. Okay, so if you notice right now our alignment is set as center, and that's why this rectangle is set to be at the center. So if I say dot, okay, so let's see, vertical alignment dot first baseline, first text baseline. Okay, and resume. You're gonna notice that this is actually gonna point to this guy right there. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and create a border for this, and we're gonna say color dot blue with width as 2. Okay, and then we're gonna have a divider, so we can have some buttons that will change the alignment dynamically. Okay, so we're gonna have button, which is gonna be top first, and with animation we're gonna simply say alignment is equal to dot top. Okay, and yeah, dot top. Okay, next we're gonna I'm gonna copy this, and paste it right here. Next I'm going to say first baseline, first text baseline, first text baseline. Okay. Last text baseline. Between them, we're gonna put one button for center. And then we're gonna put one for last. So we've got the bottom now. Okay, so let's check out. This one is going to be bottom. We have center, tops, first text baseline, last text baseline. Okay, so we've got all of them. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna run this. Okay, pay attention to this line where it goes. So we're gonna say first text baseline is not gonna change anything because it is on first text baseline. If we say center, then it's gonna move the alignment guide to center. Right now our alignment is set as at the center. Now the reason we have actually defined 3 items like along a vertical line is because our container size has increased. So this is our container size, the height has increased. So you're gonna this way you're gonna be able to see clearly where the alignment stands as we change the alignment properties. So I'm going to say last text alignment, and as you see is basically pointing at the last text baseline. Last actually goes right here, so it's not visible. Same as top, it's actually at the very top, and same goes for last, and last text baseline and first text baseline displays the text baseline alignment for first and last, and the center is the default value, which actually sets the alignment to the center. Okay. All right, so these are basically the implicit alignments. Now let's imagine if you want to basically provide your own alignment. How can you do that? Now that's when the explicit alignment comes into picture, where you basically have more freedom to define what kind of alignment you want to change. Okay, so let's take a look at an example for that too. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a similar example like this one, but we're going to recreate that so everything is fresh and you know what's going on. So you're going to create a variable alignment type. It's going to be an integer we're going to create as 1. Okay, now inside the body we are going to create a VStack and then HStack with alignment, and this is going to be vertical alignment. We're going to put center as the first value, like initially that we have defined. Okay, then we're going to once again have a rectangle that is going to be filled with orange color. Frame is going to have width as 50 and height as 2, and alignment is going to be center, the default value we're going to take. Next we're going to have the text item 1, okay. Let's go ahead and resume. The resume the preview so we can see what we've got so far. Okay, all right, that's good. We're gonna once again say fixed size, horizontal is false, vertical is true, and then font is gonna be large title. Okay, now I'm gonna come back to the alignment guide in a minute because that's the main item that we want to talk about, the explicit alignment that we're gonna set. But let me finish this. So color dot blue with 2, okay, and a divider. All right, now we're gonna have an HStack which is going to have button. Okay, so what we are trying to do is we are trying to say that whenever user taps on these buttons, so we wanna initially, if you remember in the last example that we created, we had first baseline and last baseline, but there was no way to point at the second baseline unless you say center, and center also comes in the center, not at the baseline of the text, right? So imagine if you want to actually point it at a second items baseline. Okay, so how would you go about do that? Well, we're gonna do that right here. That's what we are gonna do in this example. So I'm gonna create top, then we're gonna have first baseline, or just say first so it fits the screen. Alignment type is gonna be 1. This is gonna be second 2, then you're gonna have last 3 ID, and bottom, which is 4. Okay, now let's add some padding, and let's give a font of body. Okay, so our buttons have a body font. Okay, now let's talk about the second baseline. How are we going to calculate that? Well, we can create a function second baseline. Okay, and this is gonna take view dimensions, so view dimensions, and return CG float. Okay, we're simply gonna say here that the view dimensions that we have been given, we need last text baseline from that. Okay, and we need to subtract first text baseline. So we get the last text baseline, we subtract the first text baseline. Okay, so what we got is basically this area right here, right? Now if we divide that by 2, that's bringing them in the middle, and add the first text baseline. So add this much because we know this text baseline, this next text baseline is going to be equal to this text baseline. So we get to the middle and we add first text baseline from here to here, right? So if you try to add, like, from first text baseline directly twice, you're gonna reach only to the center, but we want to account for center as well. So we actually said not only move it here but account for center. That's what this divide by 2 is, and take that value and add it to the first text baseline. So that will bring our line calculation right here. So that is going to be returning the second baseline. So basically center's computed value, right? So we're gonna get the center computer value, and half of that we're going to add it to first baseline, and that's going to bring this right here. Okay, so if we go back, we can use a modifier called alignment guide. Okay, if you notice that this takes two overloads, there's a vertical alignment and horizontal alignment. Now if you're dealing with HStack, what you set is vertical alignment. If you're dealing with VStack, then you set horizontal alignment. So we're gonna set the vertical alignment, and we're gonna say vertical alignment dot center. That's the initial value that you give, and the computed value, it gives you dimension, right? So we're gonna say if self dot alignment type is 0, that means we are at the top, so we're gonna return dimension top, simply like that. Okay, else if we are alignment type as 1, that means we are at the first baseline, we are going to return dimension for first text baseline. Okay, else if alignment type is 2, right, this is where we want to return our second, so we're gonna simply say return second. So let's name it D, so it's easier to reference. Second baseline, we're gonna supply D right there. Okay, else if the alignment type, and we don't need this self right here, if alignment type is 3, right, then we're gonna return bottom, the last basically text baseline. Okay, so dimension for last text baseline, and else, that's the last case, we return bottom. Okay, now if I resume, okay, so this is the view that we have. So we have top, right, then we have first, then we have second. So if you notice, the second is now pointing at the second, and then you have last and the bottom. Now once again, this is basically altering our center. So if you look at this calculation, this is where we are altering the center to compute the second baseline for this. But you can see like how easy it is using alignment guide, because it gives you a computed value, and you can actually literally add or remove anything from these dimensions. So all you need to do is you need to get the dimension object, and within that dimension object there are different properties you can access with dimension array dot last text baseline, first text baseline, and you can actually add or subtract from these, right? So you can actually do all that calculation to create your own vertical alignment that you can apply to these HStack vertical alignment for the alignment guide. Okay, so yeah, so this was it for this video. I just wanted to show you, like, how you can create HStack and how you can create your own custom alignment guide if you need to create or add, or if you need to add some more calculations to basically achieve the result that you're looking for. Okay, so this is it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in next video. Thank you.